learn how to settle the government. Well, again, we just want you to get involved in the process, and that's really what today is focused on as well. Is hey, as we near the end of the fiscal year, what can happen, and getting you set up both for the new fiscal year and for next year to make sure you're super successful. Dre, any last words before we bring on Judy?
No, let's bring her. I'm excited.
Judy Bradt, hurry up. We got deadline to meet. Judy Bradt's been here before. I want to welcome her back, the CEO of Summit Insight. Judy's an expert selling to the government. She is stuck in the hurricane. There she is. Look, background. She is already. Look. Dre will keep that going. So
I will mute myself.
I'm all ready to talk about what it means to make it rain on a couple of levels. It's such an exciting time. We're 2 weeks from the end of the federal fiscal year, which is September 30th. So 2 weeks from now, we're going to be ringing in the new year. Now, if you're tired of 2020, guess what? If you're a federal contractor, you get to say bye-bye to 2020 3 months before everybody else.
Yes.
Federal fiscal year starts on October 1st. So we're going to be toasting the new year.
The first people to get rid of 2020. Look, woo!
Exactly right. But actually, we're at a really important point as well, because before you launch into the new year, it's so important to take a moment, take the breath, notice and celebrate the things that went right for you in the federal market the year before. Research shows that resilience, that ability to go through the tough stuff, in part comes from something you think we all like to do: celebrate. Those celebrations, celebrating your wins, getting together with other folks, cheering for them and celebrating theirs. You get just as much of a dopamine hit from celebrating somebody else's wins as you do your own.
There you
It's
go.
important. Is that not the thrill you get from watching professional sports? The same thing holds true. Talk to your friends about the things they did. Take a moment, breathe. I authorize you, I command you to celebrate on October 1st the things that went right. Woo! And your lessons learned. You've got to do that.
Love that message.
Yeah, I would just expand that right outside of your government sales, just in life, as we can have a tendency in society, certainly if you watch the news, to see the glass half empty. And so find the glass that's half full, and enjoy your blessings and let the dopamine roll. I see you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Look.
It's just way too easy to go, what's next? So take the time. But we're in an exciting time. Jack, I got to be here because somebody else is struggling with hurricane response right now.
Yes,
and September is hurricane season for a couple of reasons. If you are in the federal market, you are busy in the middle of the last rainstorm of the year. You're literally making it rain. You're having to make all the moves and collect up all that goodness. But if you're not in the federal market already, for goodness sake, this is a really great time to, this is it. It's a super time to go data diving.
No, we're diving. Look,
we're data diving. Because right now, this is the time of year when the federal spending data is showing this incredible stream of leads, of data. You have to be able to dive into federal contract data to be able to figure that out, so you can bring back the goals and leave behind the stuff you don't want. And so that stuff's available for free online right now, and is very definitely the starting point for everybody who's successful. And you got to know how to do that.
Where would you go, Judy? Where's the first place you would direct somebody when they start data diving?
Well, I've got instructions on all about how to data dive, exactly what to look for. Exactly what to look for and how to do it in my book, Government Contracts Made Easier. It's all there. Yeah. And you can get free chapter 1 of the book on strategy at the link that we've got set up for you. But everything about how to do a data dive, what to look for, how to use that data for your strategy is right here. You got my book, Government Contracts Made Easier, the 2nd edition. And so there's some great changes coming in October. Federal Procurement Data System, if you're familiar with it, is going to be rolling over, and will be overtaken by a new system called data.sam.gov contract data. So there's do-it-yourself tools and education on there. You got to learn how to do that, because that is one of the 4 things you have to do when you want to be successful in the federal market.
Now you mentioned 4. What are the other 3 then? Let's do the other 3. Then I'll pass it for question. Give us the
Okay,
four. Give us
sure.
all four.
People in 32 years in the federal market, I have learned that people who are successful in the federal market all do four things. First, beef up and buff up your federal sales game. Understand who are the 5 layers and who are the players at all the layers in every single place where you want to do business. And what do you do? What do you say? What do you ask to build relationships with them? Because, Jack, 80% of the contractors in the federal market struggle because they're asking the wrong question. They're wandering around going, what can I bid? And they're going to struggle until you flip that over and go, who's my buyer?
Yeah.
So understanding the players at the layers and what to do, what to say, and
Players
what
at
to
the layers.
ask.
That's good.
Players
little
and
alliteration.
layers. It's the POM method. Players and layers method. It's the POM
Yeah.
business in the palm of your hand.
Yep.
5 players, 5 layers. That's the first part, your sales game. The second part is focus. That's where the data comes in. You need to know in your market niche who buys what you do, how they buy,
Yeah.
how much they buy, and who they're buying from. And
Yep.
then based on hard data, make a clear, confident choice in 3 to 5 agencies where there are so much opportunity
Yeah.
that you will never run out of people to talk to in 2 years. And that means you can avoid having your pocket picked
Yeah.
literally of your time and your money by events, small business, yak, nah. Go deep and focus. So focus is the
Yeah.
second step. The third step is to build a structured federal sales plan around just those agencies. Average people spend thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on contact
Yes.
relationship management systems. These things show you who you know. A good sales plan shows you who you don't know as well and who you need to know, and gives you a methodical, systematic way to knit those together. So you're calling on the people you know and building relationships with the people that you need to know. And if you ask the right question, which is step 1, they're eager to help you. So first, sales game. Second, focus. Third, sales plan. Now it took me, I've done this with 70 companies. None of them said, this is a stupid plan, it won't work. But too many, which is to say more than 0, said, it was tactically brilliant. I didn't do the work. I got to own that.
Yeah.
I said, time out. How do we fix that? That's not good enough. And so over the last 2 years, I took all of my programs and ideas and I baited not 1, not 3, but 5 different test programs to figure out what was going on. I nearly lost my mind as well as my shirt. And too many sleepless nights. And you already have a lot of those as a small business owner. It was brutal. And then I put them all back in the box and said, what do we learn? The missing step is step 4. Use the plan.
Yeah.
How hard is that? Why is it
Yeah.
that it takes it? Why is it that people don't build relationships? Because the core of what I do is all about federal human connection. That federal human connection is the lightning bolt
Yeah.
that strikes the primordial ooze of federal data and brings forth life. It's that profound.
The federal ooze. That's got some marketing ring to it. To take one step back, listen for our audience. Judy's been in this space for literally many, many, many years. You've seen the books she's
32.
published. We're so blessed to have her on the show. So she literally is an expert in this area, both, hey, how do you win government business? And then how do you lay out your plan? And you said her four step plan to win government business. And then Judy, before I turn it over to Stephen and Andrea, I know there's a couple new things you've been doing. You have a new website and I think a couple new things. So why don't you tell folks about some of the other resources you offer them to help them get involved in this space and win some government business and kind of share your expertise?
Sure. Well, the core thing that I do is I work with companies who have already got some past performance. You know what you're about. People have already paid you money for what you do, and you're looking to change your success trajectory. And so I do an 8-week program, taking those companies through those steps. It's not a class, it's not a database, it's not a subscription. It's your company team working with mine for 8 solid weeks. And I just finished doing this the 5th week with one of these companies yesterday. They lit up their sales plan. They literally built out the node of relationships right in front of you. It's so cool. So that's the Federal Business Intensive, is the way you actually get this done in a matter of days, not a whole year. For those who are just thinking, do I want to be in the federal market, or I'm struggling with this one thing, I don't know about focus, or what about teaming? 7 steps to success in federal contracting are all here. Strategy, should I be here? Focus, where do I find what I need? Process, how does the government buy? Competition, where are they buying it from now? Relationships, teaming, and sales and marketing. All 7 are here, what to do. And I made it easy for you. There's no such thing as government contracts made easy. Easy is fiction. Easier we can do. And I'm making it easier for you right now because you can get free chapter 1 of this book from my website. Hey, Andrea, can you pop up the, can ask your team to pop up the link because you can go get chapter 1 right now at growfedbiz.com/book. Go get it. Download it, start using it. If you're trying to make this decision, hey, state and local is working for me. Where could I start in federal? You will save a year of expensive time. And that's my mission, is to make it easier for you because you have the power. If you're in contracting with government, there are a lot of places where you could make money. Lots. There are a lot easier places than to sell to government. So the fact that you want to be here means you've got something special. You have fire in the belly. You have literally the power to save lives, change the world, change the lives of your federal humans, as well as make things better by making sure government delivers on its promises to citizens, both in the United States and delivering missions around the world. That's powerful. That's the difference you make when you sell to government. But you want to do that right. And this makes it easier to make the change you want to make in the world when you sell to government.
Yeah, amen. You can tell Judy's very passionate about the process. And I think it's so important, particularly for the next year, with the impact of COVID and some of the social unrest, and we're going to have an election. And I think there's going to be not only a chance for you to grow your business and obviously increase your revenue, but also, as Judy mentioned, have some social change and help the government, help society, help your community, and actually operating and being more efficient and getting, to a better place. So, Dre.
Yes, sorry for the wind tunnel. My air is still going. But so Judy, so you said you've got 32 experiences, right? So you've been doing this for quite a bit. So in your opinion, what would you say that the biggest difference is between selling to the federal market versus state and local?
Great question. First, data. Oh my goodness, can you still? There you go. First is data. The federal government. I'm going to take my navigation helmet off. I'm a pilot, and so I need to hear everything when I'm flying. First of all, it's data. The federal government publishes over 300 pieces of data on every single transaction, every single time the federal government spends something. That's available for free online right now. And if you haven't looked at that, you better believe your competition has, and you're missing the boat. So your ability to focus based on free public data is huge, first. Second, and if you don't do that, the consequences if you don't do it, you're going to lose your shirt. So go all in or stay away. Fiscal year, real simple. In 46 of 50 states, fiscal year end is June 30th. In the federal government, fiscal year end is September 30th. And now if you sell in commercial, often fiscal year end and Black Friday and all that is December 31st. So you get Christmas 3 times a year. And you get a holiday season. So there's that. It's really important to realize what those fiscal year cycles are. But that also means you have to be geared up for that fourth quarter spending surge. So it's not like your federal buyers are all procrastinators. Stuff happens. 2020, did stuff happen?
I love it.
And that's really important here because it means that all of your federal humans had plans, they had lives, they had goals on October 1st of last year. And a lot of them, they have billions and billions more responsibility and spend. The goals they had in their performance appraisal list, they got pushed. Now, so what could you do to make their lives better? How can you help them shine? Because they're humans as well. They're measured on what they did and what they accomplished. And so that's something else to keep in mind. But the same is true at state and local. Other things to keep in mind, differences between federal and state and local. Sometimes the relationships at state and local buy you more. Things can be friendlier and more parochial. And so it can take longer. If you're used to cozy relationships in your backyard, great. And if you feel like you're doing business with a big machine at federal, don't get fooled. Because federal contracting is also a relationship game. Absolutely. 90% of companies that are successful say, wait, my business really comes, I make a mistake when I'm pumping out proposals when all my business comes from relationships. So don't do that.
Yep.
Take your time and figure out a methodical way to invest in researching the relationships, which you absolutely can do. The amount of federal data that's available about your federal humans is staggering. I'm going to tell you 6 different sources right now that you can use to research those players and layers. Okay.
So do it.
The 6.
What
All
yeah,
right.
you're doing.
First,
Stephen County.
client. All right. Clients, the people you already know. They paid you money. They like you. These are the people, they pay you on time. They come back for more. They send their friends. They know when your birthday is. Those people. They don't wake up in the morning going, oh, we should give Dre some more work. Now they should, but they don't. But so you got to keep in touch with them. So, oh, Dre, we're so glad you called. Hey, oh yeah, you want to know who Sally is over at Aberdeen Proving Ground? Sure, we'll introduce you.
That's where I grew
Great.
up. What a great call right there, Aberdeen Proving Ground.
There you go. So so that's one piece. Current clients, they love you. Second one, contacts. These are people you might have submitted an RFP to. You might have found their stuff in the data. You've talked to them maybe once or twice. They haven't bought stuff from you. That also includes even the contracting officer that you submitted your loser bid to. Don't be ashamed of that. That's a big deal. And you put out your best stuff. So that means they've seen that you're serious. They may have some time of day for you as well. So first, clients. Second, contacts. Third, federal agency websites. Go on USA.gov, navigate, drill down to, and because you're only looking at 3 to 5. Everybody doesn't need what you do. 3 to 5 agencies need it most.
So
get to know them well. Look at
Yeah.
their website. If you don't have time to learn about your federal buyer, they sure as heck don't have time to learn about you.
Yes.
So if they put that on the website because they expect you to look, and 80% of companies don't look. They say, hi, we're service disabled, veteran-owned, woman-owned, 8-day business in the type of zone. What do y'all do? Really? So clients, contacts, agency website. Next, look at contract data. Contract data. And that comes from beta.sam.gov, contract opportunities. And stop looking at those for what can I bid. Read the whole thing. Peel out the contact information because that's rich, and especially at this time of year with name, title, email, phone number. That's what you have to know. Okay, and so that also means you look at beta.sam.gov contract data. Okay, so first you look a little forward, then you look a little back past contract awards.
Yep.
Then you also, every single one of the federal agencies publishes an opportunity forecast. Don't get real excited. Stop looking for what can I bid. Look at who buys what I do. That helps you do step 1, which is understanding who your players are at all your layers in your target agencies. All right. 2 more. We're here. LinkedIn. How many federal buyers, how many federal employees, current federal
2 million.
are on LinkedIn?
2 million.
2.1. That's it. So for you, what you can do with that is so easy. You know the kinds of titles that your typical end users have. People who already buy from you, maybe it's facilities engineering. It's the CIO usually doesn't buy from you, but you've got people who are their data architects. You know those kinds of job titles. You want to search on those kinds of job titles and on the name of the federal agency they are working in. And you can also do another search for who has the word contracting in their job title in the federal agencies you're in. When I did that, I had 1st or 2nd level connections with over 20,000 current federal contracting officers. And if you're connected with me on LinkedIn, you're 1 degree of separation closer to them. So there. All right. So LinkedIn, because you can find out about, hey, where did they work last? Did they serve at Aberdeen Proving Ground? Where did they work? Did they work in the Navy? If I'm talking to somebody in the Army, I learned yesterday, you can talk about push-ups and that's going to really resonate with them. Do not talk to them about TRX suspension system training. That was invented by a Navy guy. The Army and the Navy think that the Air Force people, that all they do is golf. Be aware of these inter-service rivalries, but be able to speak the language, the metaphor that's going to resonate with your people. You can see that when you take a look at, in part, their LinkedIn, because it's going to show their careers at the very least. There's a dozen other things. My marvelous friend, Mark Amtower, check him out, read everything you can
All the
that
LinkedIn,
he's
yeah.
got online, because he is the federal black belt guru, Yoda
That's where I got the
of
2 million
LinkedIn.
from, Amtower.
That's it. That's
And
right.
Judy,
So,
before you get to one, sticking on LinkedIn here, and I'll let you go. What is the best Facebook group LinkedIn group to join? Because I know you can connect with the people, but is there one where they all hang out and talk?
the favorite one's one I'm actually an admin on. First of all, you want to join my group, Government Contracts Made Easier. All right, join my group. All right, come and join the fun, introduce yourself, and let's see how we can have some fun together. The other one, which has over 30,000 federal employees and people in the federal unit, employees and contractors, is Federal Contractors Network. That's an excellent one. And I'm also going to give a plug to my good friend Mark Amtower, Government Market Master, is also a great group. So I'm going to be generous. Notice what I'm doing. I'm not the only person who's smart. So pay attention, okay? And join the other boys and girls. But sure, I also do something called Come Together, Conversations with Contracting Officers. It's on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of every month. And I have former federal contracting officers and some current ones among my Top Gun coaches. Is one of the things we do. Do you know where Top Gun came from? Now, you're an Army, you grew up in Aberdeen, I know, but do you know where Top Gun came from?
No.
Okay, so in the Vietnam War, in late 60s, early 70s, the Navy thought, we have got this. We have a new way that we are going to wage war. We're going to have this over the radar system. We can just pickle the enemy without even looking at them. Missiles go off, don't even have to dogfight. Their combat efficiency ratio dropped from the usual 12-1, which is to say they would lose 1 aircraft and aircrew for every 12 they took out, to 2.5-1. Think about what that means. How many lives were lost and how that was not going well for the Navy in the early days of Vietnam. So they did something called the ALT report, AULT. And that came back and told them 2 things. First, the missile technology wasn't working. That's a technical fix, but it had to happen. But the other thing was the pilots had lost their ability to dogfight. They were in close combat and they didn't know what to do anymore. They weren't doing it well because they weren't being trained in it. Right. 9 guys went to the Nevada desert, recreated the combat fighter tactics school out of a trailer in the desert. And on March 3rd, 1969, Top Gun opened its doors. In a matter of months, they were training the trainers, putting them back out on aircraft carriers out into the field, and the combat efficiency ratio went from 2.5-1 to 13-1. Fight like you train like you fight. They discovered that a pilot that could get as real as possible, if a pilot that got 5 or 6 missions was more likely to come back alive, but what would it take to get them to mission number 5? And the answer was real-time simulated training that really gave them that pucker factor experience in the skies before they got into the arena.
See, we're not just doing procurement. We're not just doing procurement here. We're doing Top Gun,
history lesson.
Aviation.
It's awesome.
We are. Yes, we do that with this is what we do with our clients. You get your work done and you get a one-on-one Top Gun style briefing with a former federal acquisition professional. You get to crash the simulator, start again, say, hey, how do I have this conversation? What do I say? And that's what we do in Come Together, 1st and 2nd. You can get a taste of that. And on the next one that we're going to be doing is actually with Anna Ehrman, who is in the State Department. We're going to be talking about responses to sources sought and requests for information, which are door openers, easy ways that you can kind of do a little skirmish without going full out combat, but you get to practice a little bit with RFIs and sources sought as well. So we're going to be talking about that. And anybody who wants an invite can drop me a note in LinkedIn. So we've got that a little bit of that Top Gun experience. If it turns out this is for you, you're ready for a new trajectory. You don't want next year what you got last year. You're tired. If you don't know your win rate in the federal market, you should. If it's less than 20%, you really need to take a step back and say, hey, wait a second. Your average proposal is costing you $65,000 in cash and sweat equity. What'd you get for that? And if you don't like the answer, then we need to talk, because 8 weeks can change everything. Hey, what else can I answer? Oh, yeah, you had one more source. That's right.
Oh, right. I was going to say, hold on. First, the Navy's definitely better
not
than
going
Air Force
anywhere.
Aviation.
Yes.
Right.
All right.
The Navy's better than the Air Force.
Do not get distracted. Do not get distracted by those Blue Angels. No.
What's number 6?
Okay, we're recapping. So clients, contacts, federal agency directories, contracting data, LinkedIn, and Google. After you've
Google.
gotten some details, you'd be shocked by the amount of the trail of electronic traffic that an active federal human in the acquisition space will leave. They write papers, they speak at conferences, they do tons of handouts. They may or may not be active on LinkedIn or other social media. You may find their names in other contract notices that are appearing on the web. So once you've identified a federal human, if you've picked out a partial email address from a federal contract data record, you can you got a first initial, last name, Health and Human Services. Let's go pick that out. Go to the Health and Human, such a great directory, Health and Human Services. Pick out their first name, last name, learn a little bit about them, then you Google them. So you can start to fill in the blanks. So those are the 6. And for a bonus, the 5 layers. I talked about the players at all layers. Write them down. Write them down now. Here are the places, every single place you want to do business, you need at least one and sometimes more contacts at all 5 layers. Here they are. First, stakeholder. That's like the base commander, cabinet secretary, the people who get tied to the stake and tarred and feathered if stuff goes tango uniform. Those people. Okay. They're often the ones who are speaking at events on the dais and all that stuff. Okay. But they don't have signing authority on a contract. Now, next layer, small business specialists. Boy, are they glad to see you. Odds are good, especially early. You have a drawer full of cards from federal people. If you look, lots of them say small business specialist. OSDBU, Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. SADBU, Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization. These are not your buyers. They are on the nut for good faith efforts to show they met with you, because that can show they did their best to award contracts to small business.
Yep.
They can't give you a contract. These people, 99.999% of the time, are not your buyers. Sometimes they're mine because I offer training for small business, but they're not your buyers either. And they're only helpful to you if you've done they're most helpful to you if you've done lots of research. Okay, so stakeholder, small business specialist. 3rd layer, contracting. That includes contracting officer, contracting specialist. The contracting layer has a power that the President of the United States does not have, and that is the legal authority to award a contract to bind your company to these United States to deliver products or services. That person has authority. However, they work hand in glove with the next layer, end users. These are the people at the pointy end of the stick. They are stuck with the consequences of who got hired. They have a real good idea. They're suffering from whoever it is that's not serving them well right now. They're the ones who really, really need you. And there could be a lot of people in the end user bucket. Those are the ones whose titles you already know about, like program manager and facility manager, engineer, those ones. But it also includes the contracting officer's representative, the core. Okay, so they have contracting in the title, but they're part of the end user bucket. And the 5th layer, the primes, industry. You've got competitors, but I want you to think about the word competimates. You may have to cozy up to them. You may have to team with them. You have to just talk about them, figure out what is it exactly that they just didn't quite get around to that you could help with. Yeah, and there's where your open door comes.
Judy, do you have a personal feeling on 1 or 2 of the federal agencies that are easier for newer companies to approach? Do they have a better outreach program? Is there a federal agency or 2 when you think about a new company that's new to the federal market that's maybe easier, makes it easier, has a better outreach to smaller new companies that are
being small? They don't, honestly, every one of the federal agencies is pretty much reaching their goals on small business. Being small buys you nothing. Being a service disabled veteran-owned 8A woman-owned business in a hub zone just means you check the quadrifecta box, but that's not why they're going to choose you either. What does matter, the easiest business to win is one where you've solved their problem for someone who looks just like them yesterday afternoon in your neighborhood. So think about the people you know. And if you had a normal distribution curve of all the contracts you've done, there's that sweet spot at the top of the curve. All right. That kind of, you could do, let's say I was a federal contract fairy. I could put on my magical fairy princess ears. Okay, I'm the federal contracts fairy. All right. I'm going to award you the contract of your dreams. If there's always fairy tales, they always have an if, right? If you have the stuff, the staff, the space, the servers to do it right now.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, because you don't want to, oh, give us the business. We'll hire people. My brother-in-law has a place. No, sorry. The contract you want is the one that's most similar to something. You could do 5 of these tomorrow afternoon, no problem. Look for a scope like that. Look, you solved a problem for someone who in the federal government has a mission, an agency, a responsibility very, very similar to your shining star contract that you just finished.
Yeah.
That's the person who is your easiest sell. And you want to figure out what can you do for them for less than $10,000. Because under $10,000, they can award a contract to you, pay you on a credit card. And this is a quiz. What do you have besides $10,000 at that point?
Relationship.
What do you have?
Contact.
Better. Past performance.
Oh,
Past
True.
performance
That's better.
opens doors.
Cheers.
All right, that's what
Ching,
sells.
ching.
You have an amazing set of props, I must tell you.
it's our best. That's why, look, Judy's going to be a regular. She's got all. We are very into the props, so appreciate that.
Hey,
Judy,
will you share the link to the book again so that people want to know more about all these things I'm talking about? It's all in the book. Grab the book. It's $24.97 on Amazon. You can get chapter 1 for free today.
Yes. There it is. There's the link below. There's Judy's website. You see it on the screen. And then Judy, I know we have a hard stop here in a little bit. Let me see if this comes out right. So when folks look, particularly at the federal market, there are a lot of service providers, right? And so can you give our audience kind of your impression of like kind of folks that help find opportunities, a strategic analysis, help me write a proposal. There's kind of you mentioned Mark Amtower and his group. And so can you maybe paint the picture from a service offering standpoint? When folks come to the market, there's so many kind of organizations they could. So
start with the free stuff in your neighborhood. Your tax dollars and mine have paid for procurement, technical assistance centers, PTAC. Okay, the aptac-us.gov. There are hundreds of offices, thousands of people across the states. There's one in a city near you. They are literally, operators are standing by to take your calls. Look up PTAC in your community.
There's a link below. Yep.
Thank you. No, it's AP. No, that's not it. A like alpha, PTAC dash
GovSpend.
US.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. APTAC dash US dot org. APTAC dash US .org. Okay.
Got it. Yep.
Find them. Read their website and the one near you. That's it. Yes. And you'll click on the map, find the one near you, see the resources, make an appointment, use up the free stuff first. Okay. Right. Some of them have access to other databases and other things you'll pay for somewhere else, but your PTAC may have it for free. Okay. Yep. Second, buy my book. Read the book. All right. And that'll give you a sense of where do I need to really focus. But you need to focus first. All right. Don't let anybody take you for a ride. Do not let anybody talk you into a GSA schedule unless you've got your contract research done and chosen your target agencies. Anyone who tries to sell you on getting a GSA schedule, about which another day, and you've had other guests about this, and you have not done your contract research and they have not asked to see your contract research, this person is not your friend.
Yes.
Period. But when you're ready, so your next best friend who can help, you got to do the work yourself. You've got to work with your PTAC, choose your target agencies, research your people, make some flipping calls, make some friends, take your time, talk to people. That may seem like you're wading through mud, but believe me, it's going to be worth every penny when you go, oh yeah, we're going to do a little bit small project for people in our neighborhood. That's much more helpful than fancy databases, schedules, proposal writers, even fancy certifications. You don't need to pay lots of expensive people. You need to have conversations and learn how to have conversations first. And you can get a contract worth $10,000, even up to $250,000. They can make 3 phone calls and award you a contract over the phone if they know who you are. Most people getting started would go, hey, that would be real cool.
When would they start the 8-week course with an organization like yourself? Like when in the process, after they've had a couple count, when would they start with
somebody who's program? A good client to do the Federal Business Intensive? You've either got a lot of past performance in the commercial market. You might be $5, $10, $20 million company. You know your stuff and you want to make a surgical, profitable entry and win your first contracts well within 12 months. That's one. But
Got it.
the others, for me, the owner cannot be 100% billable. You've got to have at least one person dedicated full time to federal business development and sales, ideally in addition to the owner. And
Okay.
and because the average company spends anywhere from $30,000 to $233,000 on the road to winning their first federal contract. At the end of that, data shows the average win is $370,000. Now that's a mean average, but that's not a whole lot. You can do better than that if you figure out the federal sales game and focus really tightly. So you're not going to be pumping out tons of proposals to strangers. I've got a class that on my website called Building Blocks of a Winning Proposal. It's 4 hours, it's pre-recorded. You can go grab it and learn the basics of how to take one of those things apart, but don't write novels for strangers. Only write a proposal to somebody who loves you, wants you, and says, yeah, we think we want to do this with you.
Yeah.
But you can be doing those micro purchases and simplified acquisitions before you go full-blown proposal. So you don't need a proposal writer, and you sure don't need a GSA schedule till you got your research done.
Steve, do you have a quick?
Very quick. I had a question asked me today. So you mentioned $10,000 put on the credit card. I believe with federal agencies, a limit up to like 250,000 and below.
It's more than that, but yeah.
Okay. Where can they go to find those opportunities?
One conversation at a time, because
Right.
you're doing those awards go to people who already know you, like
Yep.
you, trust you. So there's no cruising place to go find.
That's
the
what he
low-hanging
asked me.
fruit.
I was like, where? I'm
Yep.
like, I don't know.
You
So I
can,
want to
I'll
ask
tell
you
you,
that.
you know,
today.
when you see them, okay,
Yeah.
don't be fooled. You're going to
Okay.
see those things called combined synopsis solicitation, and it's going to look perfect for you. And if you have less than 30 days to go, and you don't know the buyer, and you don't
Yep.
know the budget, and you don't know the incumbent, and you don't know the history, your odds of winning are in the single digits.
Yeah.
Good. That's
Most
what I told
important-
them. You got to have the
Yep,
relationship.
most important thing to do, go and peel out the contact information, go make friends. Say,
Yep.
hey, I just noticed you're buying this thing. I'm not going to get in your way, but I'd love to get to know you. That's the strategy.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
that
thank
person you make friends, they can bake the cake for you next time, next year.
Perfect.
So
Thank
with
you.
that, we raise a glass to you guys. We're going to be celebrating real soon, ringing in the new year, fiscal new year on October 1st. Don't lose this precious time period we're in right now. The average company waits till January. Federal fiscal year starts in 2 weeks.
Dre,
Don't sit on your laurels. Go and make hay, start to make rain, gather the good clouds of rainy opportunities, start seeding those clouds now. And you're going to be the one that the rain is happening on
Yes.
a year from now.
Oh,
Judy, last words, a last way to reach you, your company, any last thing you want to leave the audience with?
GrowFedBiz.com. GrowFedBiz.com. Grab the chapter. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's stay in touch. We got lots of goodies. You're going to get an email saying, hey, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. When you get that, click the box, let us know, and we will stay in touch. All righty?
Wrong dance, Steve. Wrong
that's Macarena. Sorry.
All right,
man.
Judy, thank you so much for your time. As our audience can tell, Judy's ton of energy, a ton of experience, a ton of information. Thank you so much for jumping on the show. Stay safe out there with all the hurricanes happening.
You
Stay safe.
betcha. Woo!
Thanks.
God bless. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, listen, Judy, as Judy mentioned, we had there's a hurricane that hit Florida. I'm sure you're aware of it. Hurricane Sally came in, and so we have a bunch of drama heading around here. And so she was nice enough to join us. She had a couple other obligations, but ton, as you can tell, of energy, background, and experience in doing business, particularly with the federal government. So highly encourage you to reach out to her. Maybe we could scroll her website and the spot to get the first chapter of her book again. She's I think she has another survey actually going on there as well. And so there is the website and the book. Encourage you to reach out to her, one of the experts in the federal market space, no doubt. So